got a size advantage. The Hound's going to struggle against her. And
Israel back in the game now. Michael Tucker.
there's always should have been a foul call.
Comes to Morgan, who's wide open.
Hey, what's up, Loyal, and welcome back to the Sixth Man Report. I'm your host, Rob Fredrickson, and joining me is my co-host, Brendan Highland. Brendan, let's talk about the men's basketball team. They finished up a great season at an NCAA tournament in Pittsburgh against number 2 seed Ohio State. Unfortunately, Ohio State was a great team, and we just didn't have it that night. But other than that, it was a great season. We all loved it, and I was there personally at the game. But let's talk a little bit about the performances we had. Eric Etherly led the team with 19 points, 7 rebounds, and 4 blocks. Some of them were pretty crazy.
Big ones,
Jared
yeah.
Sullinger, he packed him a couple of times. And he even had a few highlight dunks as usual. But, Brendan, why don't you tell us about who else played well in the game?
Well, Rob, Dylan Cormier, he played well. He had 14 points, two big threes from behind the arc early in the game. And the other thing was Shane Walker played. He battled real well with Sullinger. Shane finished with 8 points, 4 rebounds, and 2 blocks. And he held Sullinger to 12 points. And I think that was one of the better jobs I've seen teams do on Sullinger this year. I think Shane's overall length really gave Sullinger problems. Sullinger's not as tall as him, not as long as him. And Sullinger really, he doesn't have great lift. But Rob, you were at the game. What was the atmosphere in that arena like?
Well, this was my first NCAA tournament game experience, and I was so proud to be there for my team and supporting them. It was a great game. We had more fans than Ohio State there, which I know could be hard to believe, but it was a great game. It was a great experience. At the end of the game, Shane gave everybody a salute at the end of the game. Coach Patsos gave us a salute. And, we were just so proud of our boys that it didn't matter that we lost. It was just a great game overall. And, hopefully they'll be back there next year. And, I think that's all we could ask for.
Yeah.
They had a great season. And, congrats to them again. On behalf of the student body, we'd just like to thank you guys. And, you do what you do. You'll be back there next year. There's no doubt in my mind. Mm-hmm. But, Brendan, let's hop into men's lacrosse. They've absolutely been killing it this year. They're started this season off perfectly. They're 7-0 right now, and they're ranked 5th in the entire nation. And I know you told me in one poll they're ranked 2nd in the nation, actually. So, it just shows how dominant they've been. But, Brendan, why don't you tell us a little bit about their last game against Georgetown?
Well, the men, they squared off against Georgetown last Wednesday, and really the Hoyas were no match for us. We were down at half, but we won 11-6. Fifth-year grad student Eric Lusby, he finished with career-high 5 goals. Junior Mike Sawyer, he added 3 goals. And that made his 6th hat trick in 7 games this season. He's really on a tear. The two are playing very well. We forced 20 Hoya turnovers. That was a big key in the game. We had 4 third-quarter goals. That was the 2nd game in a row we've done that. We've been outscoring opponents 30-10 in the third quarter this season. Really, you could tell that this team is a second-half team. Yeah,
we've really been killing it this year, absolutely. We have a very potent offense, and let's talk about that. Brendan, what is Eric Lusby? He's a 5th-year grad student. And what is, Mike Sawyer, he's a junior. What does their leadership provide for this team?
Well, really, Rob, I think that with Lusby, it's more so just his experience. He's coming off an injury, and I think that any athlete, when they get in an injury, they have immediate motivation to be able to get back to the form that they played at before the injury. And I think that Lusby's clearly displaying that form, displaying that his knee is okay, and he's a force to be reckoned with. And Sawyer, for me, I think that it's a competitive thing. I think that he is a very competitive kid. And I think that he wants to be in the discussion of best attackman in the country with the likes of Steele Stanwyck of Virginia, with the likes of Rob Pinnell at Cornell. And I think that he's doing that this year. And those two combining right now, really, they're a lot to deal with for other teams.
Absolutely. They've been the two-headed attack of that offense, and they've been giving teams a tremendous amount of problems. And like you said, our second half, we've gone on runs in the second half this year. And when Coach Charles Toomey was asked about the second half, he gives his guys a lot of credit. He said they come out of halftime and know that they're in a dire situation and they have to scrap and claw, and that's absolutely what they do. And that just shows how ferocious of a team they are. They're not only talented, but they play with ferocity as well.
And I think that the other thing is that it shows that they don't get down on themselves. If they're down at half, they don't get down and they're just like, oh man, we might lose this game. They come out and they attack. And I think that when they're leading going into the half, I think it just shows a mentality of, look, pedal to the metal, don't let up. We just want to bury this team, and they've been doing that this year.
Yeah, they definitely have the recipe for a championship team.
Right.
And let's talk about not just offense in the midfield. Long stick midfielder Scott Radliff earned his weekly honor from the ECAC conference. This is the second time he got it this season, and it was a co-specialist of the week honors. congrats to him. I think he had a goal, an assist, and 7 ground balls. So, it's not just the offense who's doing it. It's the defense and the midfield as well.
And the other guy is sophomore Jack Runkle in goal. Has been playing extremely well since he took over starting every game. He's been playing well. He's playing with a lot of confidence, and he's really igniting their fast break from the goal.
Yeah, well, so the team, they look to continue their streak. They play hometown rival UMBC this Saturday at 7 o'clock, and they will be at UMBC. So, it's not far the game. It's downtown. Anybody can make it out there. And the boys will try and stay undefeated as they continue a great season. But, Brendan, let's hop into women's lacrosse now. They've been struggling a little bit, had some up and downs this year. They're 4-3. I think there were some high hopes for them when they were ranked 7th to start the season. They still are ranked 13, but they did suffer a tough loss to James Madison University. They were ranked 20th. Why don't you tell us a little bit about that game, Brendan?
Well, in this game against James Madison, Annie Thomas led the way with her second career hat trick. Sophomore Marley Patton added 2 goals. It was Patton's 13th straight game with a goal. Sorry about that. And junior Cassandra Cursaro rounded out the scoring with 1 goal. Freshman Sydney Thomas added a goal. And Rob, this team, although maybe they're not playing up the expectations bestowed upon them at the beginning of the year, they're very young, and their youth is gaining experience, and they're still playing well. I think that this team can still play well and compete in the Big East.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that they still have, a tremendous amount of opportunity to be a force in the league, and they could definitely go on a run. They have number 13 Georgetown coming up this Saturday at 4 o'clock. In the nation's capital. So hopefully they can bounce back from this tough loss and show the nation that they really still are a championship contender in the Women's Lacrosse League. But, Brendan, let's just throw out a couple of shout-outs here. We have the women's lacrosse team, tennis team, I'm sorry.
Yeah.
They have 7 straight matches, and they've been led by senior Rachel Janicek and Olivia Ott.
Well, Rob, on the opposite side of that, the men's tennis team is also playing very well with a 7-1 record led by Jay Pierce Norton and Kevin Zingler. Also, Rob, the men's golf team has been back in action. They're led by Jay Mulieri, who shot a combined 1 under par at their recent tournament. They've won, I think, 5 straight MAC championships in a row. It looks like they're on pace to possibly win a 6th.
Yeah, I mean, they have a bunch of senior leadership with, Ryan McCarthy and McCormick and Jay Mulieri. So, they're definitely poised to make another championship run for the MAC. And that could make it 6 in a row, and that would be pretty impressive.
That'd be pretty sick, yeah.
For Loyola, they've been a dominant team here at Loyola. Well, Loyola, there really is, no better time to be a Loyola sports fan. The men's basketball team made their first NCAA tournament since 1994. The tennis teams are killing it. The lacrosse teams are killing it. So get out there and support our teams. From the 6-Man Report, I'm Rob Fredrickson.
I'm Brendan Highland.
We'll catch you next week, Loyola.